So, what is basically the problem that we have now is that we focus on our future. We focus on our future so much so that we take the joy out of our present moment. Flow is about taking joy in your present moment. So the characteristics that describes flow and a state which facilitates flow is deep concentration, clear goals, and you need to have feedback or something that you can judge your goals from some yardsticks for your goals. You need to have a sense of heightened consciousness, attention, and a feeling of control that of the work that you're doing. And you need to be less self-conscious of yourself. Less self-consciousness. So most enjoyable activities, we think about enjoyment as something that is only from TV, that is only from when we are passively engaged in material, when we are passively watching something or listening. But this book refutes that and states that most enjoyable activities are about complexity, are about goals, it's about skills. So when you have a balance between your skills and the complexity, then it's flow. Then you feel more attuned with yourself, more in touch with yourself, and you lose a sense of time. You don't realize that what's the time, and that's the time. That's your flow state. And it's not just about high skill tasks or big ambitions. You can inculcate this flow in anything that you do in your life. It doesn't have to be big or grandiose. So he states that that he did research, and what he found was that people were more passive, they were dull when they were watching TV. But when they were doing their work, they were more happy and they were more in flow. Like their skill matched the complexity. While in TV, there's no skill involved, there's no complexity involved, yet you think that you like to watch TV, yet there's nothing that you're doing. You're just taking in information without thinking. But if you're thinking, you're utilizing that complexity of thinking. That's a different thing altogether. But mostly, we just want to dull ourselves by watching TV. We just want to numb ourselves. Right? So that's what he's saying. But the problem about us is that we don't think that about. We don't really think that about work. We think work is bad. Work is upsetting, and we have a prejudiced opinion about work, and that makes us more and more susceptible to hating it and thinking that we yearn for and we desire for TV passively. But the true beauty of lies in complexity and doing these hard, difficult things. So he talks about a couple of different things, like he talks about making your own crossword puzzles, he talks about making your own music. He also talks about that Plato thought that believed that children should be taught music. They should be taught music so as to order their consciousness. So this whole book rests in the thesis and the thing that you can control your consciousness. You can order your chaotic mind by finding flow in activities. And he talks about music as one of those activities where you can align your inner chaos. He talks about that anything could be flow-like. He talks about that culture socializes us and puts a limit on us, that this is how you should behave, this is how you should act, and this is the age, this is the thing that you should do. but how you should be born, how you should marry, how you should be. But instead of looking at internally and seeing yourself, your desires, your feelings, and being genuine, we fall into being fake because we look at this culture and a culturally accepted goals and we choose it to be ours. It's like we are conforming to what's the dominant goal structure of our society, of our culture. But instead of really like zoning into our hearts and to our what you want, we think that we're gonna just choose what is outside of us and that's going to satisfy us. So he also mentioned alienations, and for him alienation is about that people cannot do what they want to do because their goals are not in line with the society's goals. So that society becomes detrimental for their goals. So they become alienated. And there's another word that he mentioned that is anomy, that is lack of rules. And what is it? That when the norms of behavior are changing, when your culture is being destroyed by one culture, your society collapses, the economy collapses, then the person is so confused and muddled that he doesn't know what to believe anymore, because what he used to believe now has completely changed, and now he don't really know what to do and what to believe in. So he tells us, okay, when you have your leisure, your fun thing, you have a lot of time that is leisure time, right? Because now we're more efficient than we used to be. We have factories, we have machines, and that reduces our time. That reduces our time spent in work. Obviously, we do spend time, but it's reduced. We also have a lot of time to ourselves. So what are we doing? We're wasting that time. So he talks about how you can use your time to cultivate yourself, goals for yourself, and skills. You can go on Skillshare and learn how to be an illustrator. You learn how to do this and that. Obviously, he didn't mention that. I'm not talking about Skillshare and all. Obviously, in 1992, I doubt there was no Skillshare or stuff like that. But now we have so many opportunities for learning, but we don't choose to go with that, right? He's saying that you need to have a goal-directed sort of vision. You need to have a goal, choose habits with a goal, and which offers challenges, so that you harness your skills and you sharpen your skills, and not because everybody is doing it, not because you will earn money. Don't look at that. Just look at the flow, because he talks about a flow in the sense that you don't do things just for money and blah 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 blah. It's do for its own sake. The activity is the goal end in itself. And he talks about dancing, he talks about reading, he talks about yoga. And a pretty cool thing about this is I never knew that hatha yoga that we normally do, the popular yoga is hatha yoga, and we know only two parts of it. That is asana, which are these poses and postures, and also the second is your breath, the pranayama, right? But it's not the only thing, it's not the only thing that is included in yoga. There's a yama that you have to stop thinking about harming others. There's niyama, which is kind of cleanliness, and then there's a dharna, you concentrate, and there's a dhyana, which you forget. It's about forgetting yourself. And samadhi, and there's so much more to just yoga. It's not just postures and poses. So it's an ideology in itself. And again, he's saying it so as to order our consciousness. And then he also talks about his reading, and if you like puzzles, make your own puzzles, right? And he also talks about his write poems, writing, right? There's this thing that, okay, you have WhatsApp, you have so many apps available, Facebook and all. Why write? But he says that writing, all these things are tools for passing information, but writing is a goal in itself, right? So write poems, write. It's very important that you write for the sake of writing. And the cool concept of this is daydreaming. I never thought I always play out sequences, right? And I never thought that it's a great thing, it's a really great thing, but I fantasize about things that never happen. So I used to. I stopped doing it. But now he says that daydreaming is good, right? That's weird. And then he also says, like, there's an interesting point, and that is rode learning. Ratta. Like, rode learning is looked down upon, obviously, because it doesn't require any thinking. So we think that, like, look down upon this. It's just nothing. But he says, to order your consciousness, why not take ownership of the facts? Why not remember your quotations and things that you like? There's another thing that if you like history, you can find out more about where you belong to, like your ethnicity, and go to museums and books and everything, and join clubs and stuff like that, journaling, chronicles, right? Your chronicle, pseudoscience, and he talks about being an amateur. I mean, how do you pronounce amateur? I think it's amateur. I don't know, but the Lindsay, something like that. My pronunciation is not right, so just forgive me. And science. So he talks about it's okay to be an amateur. It's a derogatory term, but just do it for its own sake. And just remember that you're not the professional. But if you're doing it for the thing and you like it, just do it, right? And do it for the sake of it. Don't do it for a diploma or a job and spouse or stuff like that. Just make this a goal in itself, rather than just making this a stepping stone. So, and then he talks about why, and then he really talks about what did he talk about. Anyways, I'm writing. Most people feel empty, and that most people don't like solitude, and they just want to shut themselves up in external stimulation and all that. Just want to be chaotic as much as possible. When he says that, don't be chaotic, as simple as that. And then he's like, he writes about parenting, relationships, and just to create flow in relationships and children. Sometimes the book becomes really repetitive because it's the same thing, in the sense that complexity, introduce new goals. Even in family, you need to introduce new goals, and it gets kind of repetitive. But there's another point, which is at the end of the book, that your reaction towards any stressor. I mean, he also says, okay, when you have pain, hunger, deprivation, whatever, you have to be optimistic and be happy and just order your consciousness. But again, he do say this, that we do have a limit to bearing the pain, right? There's a limit to which that is now. So he acknowledges that, okay? And then he says that when you're coping with stress, there are three things that really define you. The first thing is you're a family. Second, your personality, your characteristics, and third is your style, the way you talk, when pressure comes, how you work, what are the strategies that you use. And he mentions two coping strategies: transformation and another way to regress them. The transformation is what everyone knows, that when it changes, like 1, 2, 3, and changes. In the sense that I took this and the success stories, and then this happened, that happened, but I didn't lost courage, and I said, transform myself. And that's what he says, how can you get into this? And I was into what happens. He says you have strong sense of self, that you need to know what are your goals, and and you need to have the sense of self intact, and you don't doubt that you cannot bear your goals. Because I feel like sometimes you need to understand that you might be wrong with what you choose to believe in. Your goals might be wrong, you might need to adjust. And he also mentions that you might need to readjust your goals, and we might need to have new goals, but that's okay. We all have some notions about our life, and then we change it, so that's okay, change it. But when you are in a bad situation, just look at your surroundings, pay attention. I think that's what Jordan B. Peterson also talks about. Pay attention. If you have social anxiety, pay attention to your surroundings. Don't focus on yourself, focus on the environment, focus on the obstacles, focus on the situation, you yourself included, but focus on the whole situation, what you can do, what are the alternative goals, and what you can do. Instead of focusing on yourself and having that narrow vision, attend to the environment, see and that's intrinsic motivation. You're choosing it for yourself as opposed to extrinsic motivation, and you're choosing it for a reward like money, fame, etc., etc. So I think I just did justice to it. I don't know. And he also mentioned an autarky, like personality, which is a personality which is not ruled by extrinsic reward. It is ruled by an intrinsic system. So yeah, I think I mentioned everything, and inner motivation, almost everything.